Hi friends, welcome back. So I'm feeling better myself. I'm not feeling so burnt out. I've been finding some beautiful photos and walks for inspiration. And I want to ask you, do you know how to fall back in love with art? Today we are going to talk about some ways to do that. Sometimes we get really intensely focused on the perfectionism and making art that looks a certain way, that makes us feel a certain way. But what if it was just about the process of how we're making our art and how that feels inside because we're taking time for ourselves? And I say this all the time, but today I want to talk through some things that I feel are helpful for you to fall back in love with art and not let it be a stressor for you. I feel like every time you pick up a paintbrush or a pencil or a marker, a crayon or pastel, anything, and that's just like those visual fine arts, and there's so many others in the categories, but there's so many ways to express ourselves and be creative. I want you guys to find that joy again, that spark. And I'm hoping it's in this video today. We are taking a reference photo that I found on Pinterest. Is definitely AI because there's so many imperfections, but I took it as a way to be able to, as I do, make my own thing. And I just liked the shape and the composition. So maybe that's something that can help you to find your joy again. Anyway, we're gonna get to painting, but focus on joy today. Focus on letting go. Focus on what do the brush strokes mean to you and how do they make you feel. Let's get to painting our daisies. So you're gonna spray down your paints as we do when we start. Look at how much more vibrant they look. And then the picture for today, here you go. So finding your inspiration can be quite challenging, but I like to find my inspiration in nature and also on Pinterest, and you do the best you can with everything, and then you kind of look for the next inspiration and you keep practicing and learning. So I want to start by putting in the centers of these flowers, just grabbing some yellow. So really concentrated yellow, and I'm going to put in a focal flower right here. Just kind of dabbing focal flower, focal middle. So it's going to be a larger daisy. And then we're going to put these in varying shapes. So this is going to be a dome. And this one can be bigger, actually. Let it be wonky. Don't make it a perfect circle. That's just not, it's not as interesting, not as fun. Now, the photo that I showed you is definitely an AI photo. There's some weirdnesses happening, but we can still use it and we can still adapt it to what we want it to be. So I'm just putting these this way. So kind of go around your painting and put in these little middles wherever you want them to be. We can always put in more as we need to fill out our painting. And some little tiny buds, just like that, okay? And then we can do some that don't have the middles showing too. Well, so today I'm going to be using my filbert brush. It's a number 6 from my collection, but you can use a round brush too and do this. Your petals will not be as round from the outside in, and that's fine. They might be a little bit more pointed, and it totally works. Now, if you have a palette like me, you need to find a section that's fairly clean. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this because I'm going to create my white. Now, what is my white? My white can be anything light that I want to use. Since we're not truly painting with white for these daisies, we have to make up a color that's going to work. So I like to go with this kind of a yellowy or a tan or brown color with lots of water. So you can see it's pretty runny. And I just need it to show up enough so that I'll be able to see what's happening here. I'll be able to see kind of where the petals are. If I were to paint with white, you wouldn't see it because of the white paper. So a little bit more water, a little bit more paint. And we'll just play around with this. So we are just going to go from the outside in and make these petals. Draw them in. They're going to bleed. It is watercolor. Let it do its thing. Now, one of the big things with this is I don't want the petals to be perfect. So they're just going to kind of maybe curve around. Maybe there's going to be some crisscrossing. Maybe the side of the brush to give a thinner petal. Okay? And that's what is going to make this more interesting to me. So Start flipping your wrist around and put these little petals in. Where can you find inspiration? There are so many places. As I've shared, you know, going through burnout really takes that inspiration away from us. And so we have to sort of figure out, where are we going to be inspired again? Now, I was going through one of my art groups, just seeing what everyone is posting. A lot of people have been painting things for the holidays, for the autumn season. All right, so we're going to be going into fall soon, and I like how that is. It's just kind of wonky, doing its thing. Let's just keep doing this. This one is going to have petals that are going to go down like this. All right, and they're just going to curve around. And so I started looking at pumpkins. People were doing pumpkins and drinks. You could do foods. Some people were doing Halloween stuff. I don't like Halloween, so I won't be painting that, but I will be painting the fall. And just being able, you know, black cats. People were doing some black cats. Just a lot of fun stuff. Let's do a little bit more of that caramely color in here. And just finding things that make you laugh, that make you smile. Maybe painting buildings is something that you want to try. For me, going out on a nature walk, though, really gets that inspiration going, because I start to see so many beautiful things in nature. And it inspires me to try different things. So we're going to keep going with these. We've got some pink coming into it. That's okay if it changes a little bit. See, I'm just going really fast, quick brush strokes. I love this Filbert number 6. I think it's just fabulous. It does such a great job. It's tiny and powerful. And then let's do another one over here. Allowing those to just kind of move around. You can see I'm going faster than when I started. As you start to practice those same brush strokes over and over, you start to get more of a sense of confidence. Okay, I know what I'm doing, right? And then you can end up kind of speeding up your painting sometimes. I'm just going to go this way. So right there. How cute is she? So I do want to put in our vase before we keep going, because then we can figure out what else to add into this. I have my lovely pencil. It's just a cheap old pencil here. It's nothing fancy. And it's going to give me a good idea of how to kind of achieve this vase. So we are just going to kind of start at the middle part. It'll be right here. I'm just going to do this curved shape, okay? Just like so. And then at an angle going down. Just about there. Just about there. And then curving around the front. If you sketch your vase, it's going to give you so much more confidence in what you're doing than if you just freehand it. Trust me, I'm learning the hard way. All right, little lines going up this way. This is an old picture, and then it's going to go around this way. Curve it. Remember, you can always stop the video. You can always slow it down if it's too fast. And then we're going to do a handle, a little heart shape, or an ear. I don't know. Kind of looks like an ear. And I'm going to go right here too. Yep. Boop. It is not perfect, but it is my wonky vase. I'm going to do another line here. And here. So we did it. We did it. So then we can kind of evaluate what we want to do next. I would like to start putting in maybe some stems, but if there's any other floral shapes you want to do, go for it. These are just going to be a whole bunch of beautiful daisies. This is actually a painting that I'm giving to someone who's going through some grieving, and I heard that her favorite flowers are daisies, so I'm so excited to do this for her. I don't even know her, but I've been praying for her. I'm just hoping that she's doing okay. If you ever want to give away your art, it's such a gift. People love getting things from other people, and you may not feel like it's the perfect piece of art, and that's okay. Write a beautiful note. Tell them how much you care about them. Give them a little encouragement. And move on. Most likely, they're going to love it. And they're going to be so touched that you thought of them. It's not about the perfect painting. It's about doing something with love. Love in your heart. Grabbing some green. This is a beautiful greenish color that's already on the palette, so I'm just going to go with it. And I'm going to start connecting some little stems. So we've got this guy here. Really light pressure. Dab your brush. It's going to help you control the water. It's going to help me control the water. All right, that's that. And then here, little wonky stems. Make them wonky. Make them beautiful. Look at how happy they are. Boop. Little stems there. And how many stems do we have? So many stems, but they're getting stuck inside of this. We won't be able to see them through there. Just going into the vase, right? Kind of like that. But we can put some foliage too, and it will look great. It'll look great. All right. So right now I want to paint this while we are doing this whole thing. And it's a beautiful color in this, in the picture. There's kind of almost white. I'm going to take my quill brush. Where are you? There she is. Wow. My quill brush. And we're just going to, I think, I don't know. Kind of want to do blue though, you guys. I kind of want to do blue. Let's do blue. Let's get with blue here. Grab some of that paint. It just seems like a good decision today. So, and if you need to erase some of your marks, you can go for it. I'm not going to though. I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm literally just going to do the coloring thing. So just take some time to color this in. It's okay if it's splotchy and has textures, like you can just do that. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know, and finding things that bring you inspiration, maybe it's different subjects, I've said it before, but those are things that can really help to get you excited about life again, and especially painting. Because sometimes we just get burnt out by doing the same things over and over, or maybe life is just burning us out because it's tough. Life is hard. So, finding new ways to get up in the morning, new things to be excited about. You know, what if you are trying to exercise more in your life? What if you were to start, you know, trying to paint like little figures exercising? I just thought of that. That might be kind of fun. It might motivate you to get out and exercise yourself. That might motivate me to get out there, because it's one of my goals. I actually wrote down. I've been trying to do more consistent exercise. So, but it's just starting small, right? Painting fruits, or just painting whatever's in season where you're at, if you have seasons, or whatever's in style. And seeing, you know, if you hate it, then you can be like, all right, not doing that again. And then maybe you find something that you love. So that's great too. Just go on a walk and collect little trinkets, treasures, nature things, or maybe just things you find on the road. Let's grab some concentrated blue. And then pick those up and then try to sketch them and try to paint them on one sheet of paper. That would be inspiring, right? Doing a little bit of shadow here. A little bit of shadow. Certainly not perfect shadow, but it is just texture. I know this is fast. I sort of get to that point where I'm really excited about something and painting, and I just paint away, knowing that people might be left behind, but that's where you can pause the video and catch up. You have that control. Isn't that great? Alrighty, so we've got that going on, and now what do we want to add in? I do want to add a little bit of shadow, so we're going to do this over here in my beautiful navy color. And I just do a kind of an artsy, whatever, you know, artsy shadow, so it's nothing realistic. Just a little bit of darkness here. All right, and then take some darker paint and pop it in. A little cast shadow here. It's going to spread where the water is, that's where it's going to spread more. Okay, I'll let that alone for a little bit, let it dry. And then for these guys, we can do a little bit of some pizzazzing. So number 6 round. My number 6 round, I'm just going to take some of my brown, making a little puddle. It's more of a reddish brown. I've got more of a Vandyke brown over here too. It's a little bit of both of those, dab the brush. And then I'm just going to go around the outside, do a little stippling so that I can create some texture on part of that middle. And now we're adding in some interest. So for some of these, you know, this is going to be like a little border. You could go all the way around if you want to. See how I'm just kind of going haphazardly because I don't want it to be perfect. Yeah. There we go. Let's keep going with this. And over here, you could fill in more on one side than the other. You can fill in the whole thing. It's really up to you. I'm just trying to make each one different. Yeah, just each one different. And this one, we're just going to go with brown. Actually, I can put some yellow in the middle. Why not? Okay, so cleaning my brush, grabbing a little bit of yellow and popping that in. It's not going to spread much, a little bit, but not much, because it was pretty concentrated. If you have more runny paint, the paint's more likely to spread than if you don't. All right, how are you feeling so far? We're going pretty well with this. This guy's sort of floating out there. So I'm going to grab some more green. Just try to follow that stem down a little bit because it just looks kind of weird. I don't know. It's just floating up there. No worries though. And I want this to dry and then we'll definitely do some more texture. But with these, we can do a little bit more definition. So I'm going to grab that same color. We're just going to play number 6 round, dabbing the brush. And what we can do is just light pressure, start to outline some of these petals and putting some lines in between for some texture. And that, my friends, is what's going to amp this up. I meant to ramp it up, but I said amp, and that works. So just really tiny, sketchy lines. This is looking more like vintage florals right now, which I do love that look. So I'm not mad at that. Don't try to copy me or you'll want to tear your hair out. You just want to kind of use that intuition, dab your brush, and just outlining, you know, really light pressure on both sides of that petal. Some little tiny sketchy lines. And you can even like make it like a thicker version of it like that if you want to. I just want to add in some texture. All right, so how are you doing? I always like to check in with you. How are you doing? As a therapist, I like to ask you, are you taking breaths? Are you reminding yourself to stay calm? Are you keeping up with everything? Are you pausing when you need to? Taking breaks? It's very important to walk away if you get frustrated with your work. Reminding yourself that you are in control and that you can always come back later and start again. No one is saying you have to finish this painting today. But I always like to ask you, what do you like about your painting? What's going well? What would you like to see differently next time? Because if your painting does not turn out like mine, that's completely fine and that's expected because we all have different ways that we're painting or how we're metabolizing a video, for example. But you can say, okay, I like certain things here. I'm going to try to do that again. And the things that I don't like, I'm going to let go. And I'm not going to do that again. And so I hope that with that mindset, you can learn to fall in love with your art again if you feel like you've lost it. If you feel like it just hasn't been what it used to be, or maybe you've never fallen in love with art and you're desperately trying. Remember, it's not you, it's the process. Everyone has frustrating moments. Last week I finished filming my watercolor course, my landscape course that's launching September. And I was very just burnt out. No creativity in my brain. Done with it, right? And I thought, and I should paint every day. I was watching a video on Jenna Rainey and she was saying that sometimes she paints every day and other times she doesn't paint for weeks. I don't go for weeks without painting myself, but I definitely have some days here and there, but I still feel like I should be working on it. And I also I use it for self-care. So I want to be working on my art, but so I don't know. I hope that if you can let me know in the comments if any of these words are resonating with you on how to find inspiration again. It's just like a tricky thing. A big thing is to work on some other art, you know, until you feel inspired again. And that is okay. You can take breaks. All right, how are you feeling? I'm getting all those lines in. I notice that I start to get more bold, thicker lines as I go onward with this. And I think that I need to do a mixture of thin and thick, but it's also whatever I'm feeling like in the moment. Some sketchy lines can be pretty if you want to do that. And some thicker ones here. All right, it's starting to come together. I want to let this dry and we'll see what we do with it next, but I'm going to dry this and then we'll come back and we'll start adding some depth to our vase. So I went in during the break and I thickened up some of those stems because I thought it was just kind of bare in there. And then I decided I wanted to add in one more stem of flowers here. So I'm going to do that right now. And then it's going to just kind of shoot out right here. About. Okay. And so sometimes our art can be a little messy like this, but you know what? You can do it like this. You can just decide, hey, I'm going to do another one of this and get to it. There's nothing wrong with that. So I wanted to do that. Got my big middle in there. And then we're going to add a little bit more of this. And we're going to bring out that lovely, beautiful filbert because she's so great. She does such a good job. So really runny paint. And then we're going to go from the outside in. There will be some spreading. We already know it. And we're going to embrace it as part of the whole thing. So as you are checking in with yourself, what are you liking so far about your painting? What do you want to keep doing for next time? If you were to paint this again, what would you do the same? Maybe some things that you would do differently. I wanted to take my number 6 and I wanted to add in just a little bit more of this greenery in here. The green, so therefore I'm just going to do a little bit of some grasses sticking out. And then over here, I'm just going to do a few right there because I really love the contrast of this green. And I think it looks really pretty in between the plants. And I think I'm going to leave it at that, even though my brain wants me to put it here too. I'm going to leave it, it's a little bit heavier with flowers over here. So we're just going to stay on that side. And this is good. This is filling it in more how I thought it needed to be. For this part here, I'm going to take that quill and I'm going to take more concentrated blue, dabbing it. And I'm going to just start just kind of outlining it, honestly. Outlining it in this dark blue. Actually all over there, so not just on one side. And we are going to spread it out, so don't worry. In case you're worried. You might not be worried, but if you're worried, don't worry. This is part of the process. And then over here. And over here. All right. Okay, clean brush. Dab that brush. And we're literally just going to blend that edge. See how lovely that is? It's starting to blend in really nicely. It's not going to blend perfectly, and that's okay. We're not looking for that. It's going to blend out that hard edge. Clean your brush, dab it, and continue on. Just going to move that paint around, just creating a little bit of difference from the inside and the outside. And if it's stuck with lines, just scrub that brush back and forth until you can blend that in. Then I want to take just a little bit of this darker blue and pop in some of that just touching the edge of it, letting it spread. Yep, making it crazy, just in some places. Maybe over here too. Kind of swirling it around, moving the paint. Taking a clean damp brush and just spreading things out if you'd like. And I'm going to dry that one more time. A little bit more here. And then, yeah, we'll dry it, and then we're going to add a few more lines. Okay, so I'm going to take my number 6 round, and I'm going to grab a bit of this beautiful ultramarine. I'm just going to do a few lines here across the top and a few little edges here. So dabbing the brush so I don't have so much water, and I'm just going to follow these lines, and I'm going to be quiet. Light pressure. And then a little bit at the top. A little bit thicker. And at the bottom as well. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit darker too, just the handle. I think that'll add some pizzazz. And I'm using little sketchy lines because I personally like the look of that. I think it keeps you from trying to do it perfectly. We're trying to fight perfectionism, right? We are. We've got this. Embrace your mistakes as a learning experience. On these sides too. Guys, I can't help it. Okay. And I dare say that she's done. I just need to do a little splatter. A little bit of pizzazz for that too. For the splatter, I'm going to go dark green. Some splatter there. And in 3 spots. You just tap your brush and add that splatter in. Now, these guys. A little bit of extra stuff. So my caramel's kind of getting mixed in with everybody else's paint. All right, you know the drill. So just adding in. Oh, that's not dark enough. Don't worry about color matching. I don't believe in needing to make everything the same. You know, if I'm trying to avoid perfect, then why would we even bother? If you have to make more color, then make more color. It's okay if it's not the same. Nothing is going to happen. No one's going to die. You're not going to lose respect from other people, right? I mean, think about the narratives that we carry about how important it is just to do things perfectly in the right way. We just got to let that go. But I hope that you're finding some inspiration, some ways that you want to start exploring your world. To be inspired as you paint, let's grab a little bit more of that dark brown to finish this up. Can't wait to get a frame for this and to give it to its new owner. It's been such a joy to paint this today with you. And I'm just going to go all the way around. Some of my brown is going to spread into the leaves, and that's okay. I have to embrace it. There's some places where I do want to add more brown, and I'm just going to do that. Right now, I think I wanted to add all the way around these centers now that I'm looking at it. So it's okay to do that after the fact or during the fact, whatever. We're still painting, so it's all good. There we go. And we are done. If you do want to add a little bit more green, dark green for contrast. This would be a good time to do it. Just a little bit of scratchy marks. And if you want to get my brushes, they're almost gone. I keep saying that, but there's just a few left. They are linked below. They're quite fun. I believe in them. I believe in using them, clearly. All right, friends. This has been so much fun. Don't forget to breathe while you paint. And I'll see you next time. Friends, do you feel the joy? I hope so. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel different things. I hope that they're positive. Sometimes with art though, some negative feelings come up, especially some things that we are just kind of processing in our mind. Some of the grief, the challenges, the frustrations, communication issues, relationship issues. And that's when our brain has this time to just chill out, be soothed, and think through the things without the extra trauma and our nervous system getting out of whack. So sometimes art can be very helpful for that. I do want to remind you guys that my watercolor landscape course is launching this week. So click the link below to sign up for the waitlist. There's still time because then you will get access to a very nice discount and I really recommend it. Also, friends, I want to remind you that we are going to be starting up our Monday classes mid-September. So look for invites on social media for that. I love you guys. Thank you for all the things and happy painting and happy mental health.